Flipping houses, step-by-step guide for beginners. What if I told you that an old beat-up house could be your next big paycheck? And no, you don't need to be a millionaire, a contractor, or have a toolbox in your trunk to do it. Flipping houses has helped regular people just like you turn everyday homes into serious income. But here's the thing, if you don't know the how, you could lose a lot more than you gain. In this video, you'll discover how to flip houses step by step. Whether you're just curious or ready to flip your first property, we'll break it down in a way that's simple, clear, and 100% beginner friendly. So grab a pen, take notes, and let's examine how flipping works from the very beginning to the end. Let's begin. What is house flipping? When people hear house flipping, they often think of TV shows where someone buys a home on Monday and sells it for double the price by Friday. But in real life, flipping houses is a bit more involved, though still very doable. Flipping is when you buy a house, usually one that needs some work, fix it up, and then sell it at a higher price for the sole purpose of making a profit. That flip from old to new is what creates the profit. And if you do it right, it can be a great way for you to build wealth or earn extra income. Some people flip houses full time. Others do it on the side while keeping their 9-to-5 job. Either way, the key is buying low, improving smartly, and eventually selling at the right time. It's not just about painting walls or installing trendy kitchen tiles. It's a game of timing, budgeting, and knowing what buyers really want. And now you've got a simple picture of what flipping really is. Let's talk about something even more important: what you absolutely must know before you flip. Before you jump into your first flip, there are a few things you must understand. Otherwise, you could easily lose money or worse, get stuck with a house that you can't even sell. First, flipping isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a real business. That means every decision, including what house you buy, how much to spend on renovations, and when to sell, needs to be made wisely, not emotionally. You can't just go with your gut. You need numbers, research, and a clear plan. Secondly, always remember that profits aren't made when you sell the house. They're made when you buy it. If you overpay at the beginning, it's almost impossible to make a decent profit no matter how beautiful the renovation turns out. So, the best flippers know how to spot deals that others miss, and they never rush into a purchase. Also, unexpected costs will come up. Even if a home looks okay on the surface, there might be hidden problems behind the walls or under the floors. That's why having some money set aside just in case is very important. It's safer to be too ready than to be surprised. And most importantly, flipping takes teamwork. Even if you're doing most of the thinking and decision making, you'll likely need a contractor, maybe a realtor, and someone to handle legal paperwork. Surrounding yourself with the right people makes all the difference, especially when you're just starting. If that all feels a bit overwhelming, don't worry. We're about to walk through each step you need to take one by one. The 6-step flipping process. Now, let's walk through the real flipping process from start to finish, step by step. This will give you a clear picture of what to expect and what to actually do. It all begins with finding the right property. This isn't just about looking at any cheap house online. It's about identifying an undervalued property, maybe because it's outdated, vacant, or in need of repairs, but still in a neighborhood people actually want to live in. In other words, you're looking for potential, not perfection. Once you've spotted a good one, the next step is doing your homework. That means calculating the numbers, purchase price, estimated repair costs, and projected resale value after renovations. You're basically figuring out your end goal and working backwards to make sure you're not losing money in the middle. Then comes the purchase. Once the deal makes financial sense and you've secured financing, whether that's from savings, a loan, or a partner, you close the deal and officially own the home. From there, renovation begins. This is where the magic happens. But it's also where many beginners go off track. The goal isn't to make the house fancy. It's to make it marketable. Focus on what buyers care about: kitchens, bathrooms, floors, paint, and curb appeal. Keep your upgrades smart, clean, and cost-effective. Once renovations are done, it's time to list and market the property. Work with a good real estate agent or go solo if you know how, and be strategic with your timing. Staging, great photos, and fair price can attract buyers quickly, especially if you're in a hot market. The final step, closing the sale. Once you accept an offer and finalize the paperwork, that's when the flip is truly complete and your profit becomes real. It's a cycle that can be repeated over and over, and the more you do it, the sharper you'll get at it. But even with the process laid out, many people still ask one big question: how much money do people really make flipping a house? Real numbers breakdown. So let's talk real numbers. Let's say you find a house listed at 150,000 in a solid neighborhood. It needs some updates, nothing too dramatic, so you estimate around 30,000 for repairs and upgrades. That includes paint, flooring, new cabinets, bathroom touch-ups, and exterior fixes. So you're all in at about 180,000. So now, based on your market research and comparable homes in the area, you expect to sell the house for around $240,000. That gives you a potential profit of $60,000. That probably sounds exciting. But hold on, there are a few other costs to factor in. You have to pay for closing costs when buying and selling, maybe around $6,000 total. Real estate agent commissions, that could be another $10,000 to $12,000. Then include holding costs like property taxes, insurance, and utilities while you own the house, which might be $2,000 or more depending on how long the flip takes. Once all those costs are deducted, your actual profit might land somewhere around $35,000 to $40,000 for that one flip. That's actually not bad for a few months of work, but also not instant millions. And of course, the numbers will vary based on your market, your renovation skills, and how well you manage your budget. Some flips make more, some make less. A few even lose money when done carelessly. So remember, the goal isn't just to flip, it's to flip smart. Now, let's talk about the part most beginners overlook: the risks. The truth is, while flipping can be profitable, it's also easy to lose money if you're not careful enough. One of the biggest mistakes people make is underestimating renovation costs. It's easy to assume that new floors or a kitchen upgrade won't cost much, but once you start peeling back old paint or breaking tiles, you may find plumbing issues, electrical problems, or structural surprises that add thousands to your budget. What was supposed to be a $30K renovation can climb up to $50K in a few hours if you're not planning realistically. Another common mistake is overpricing the property after renovations. Just because you poured your heart and wallet into the project doesn't mean buyers will pay above market value. A house still needs to be competitively priced no matter how beautiful it looks. If you list too high, it'll sit for months, and every extra month means more holding costs eating into your profit. There's also the temptation to flip in a neighborhood just because the property is cheap. But price isn't everything. If demand is low or crime is high, you might struggle to sell, no matter how gorgeous the renovation is. Location matters more than the property itself in most flips. And finally, rushing. Many first-time flippers get excited, skip steps, and don't double-check their numbers. A flip isn't a race. It's a business decision that needs patience, planning, and precision. The faster you try to move without clarity, the more likely you are to trip. And those mistakes can cost you thousands. So, what can help you start strong and smart and succeed as a flipper? First, always start with education, just like you're doing right now. Learn about your local real estate market, understand renovation basics, and take time to study successful flips. As you continue to know more about the business, the less you'll guess. Second, build a team. You don't have to do everything yourself. Having a reliable contractor, a savvy real estate agent, and even a mentor who's flipped before can make a huge difference. Their experience can help you avoid costly errors and keep your flip moving forward. Third, keep your first flip simple. Don't go for a massive home yet. Choose a smaller property that needs mostly cosmetic updates. It's easier to manage and budget and faster to sell. And don't fall in love with the house. It sounds strange, But emotional attachment can cloud your judgment. Remember that it's a business and your goal is to make a profit. If the numbers don't work, walk away. There will always be other properties anyway. Then keep your expectations realistic. Not every flip ends with a six-figure profit. Some flips teach you more than they pay. But as you gain experience, your flips get faster, cleaner, and more profitable. Each one is a building block toward long-term success. Remember, flipping houses is about profit, but that's not all. It's also about vision, strategy, and smart decision making. And you don't need excess money to begin. You just need the right knowledge, the right team, and the courage to take your first step. If today's video helped you understand the process better, imagine what you can do with your first real project. Start small, remain focused, and keep learning on the job. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real estate and financial game changers. Share this with someone who needs a fresh start in flipping. See you in the next one.